Did you fall on a sidewalk or something, Jelly?
What?
You fell on the sidewalk or
Fall
something?
Did you fall face first on the sidewalk?
No fall, no nothing.
That was my T-shirt for you there. On Philly
All right.
Sports T-shirts, you could get the Damn Skippy T-shirt.
No, I don't know what I did.
This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles. Broadcasting live from Hard Rock Cafe in Philadelphia, tonight's show is brought to you by Penn Community Bank, Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia, Independence Blue Cross, The Capitol Grill, Rob's Automotive and Collision, and BCWSA. We now go live to the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Center City, Philadelphia for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome, everybody, to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Matt Muir, we are not, of course, at the Hard Rock Cafe at 12th Market. They're undergoing some renovations. We are on Zoom for a couple of weeks, which is where we are tonight. Back at the Hard Rock soon. I'm here with Paul Domowitch, our co-host, and our guest tonight from Philly Sports Trips and Philly Sports T-shirts, Mr. Hollis Thomas. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good.
Well,
How about you, Paul and Paul?
Doing really well.
Well,
We're all doing well after the Eagles win last night over the Packers, 40-33, moving them up to 10-1. Domo, first question I have for you tonight as we get going. I called last night a Woolworths game, a 5-10 game. On a scale of 1 to 10, you gave the rest of the Eagles team a 5, Jalen Hurts a 10. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was great, and there's a lot of angles to slice into this, but you basically agree with that?
well, I mean, the defense didn't play very well, but offense played very, you run for 363 yards or whatever they did.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive, Hollis, and the defense. The
Uh,
Packers had to.
Where do I
Go ahead.
start? No, I was going to say, where do I start? I haven't had the pleasure of being on with you guys since I've been on my tirade about the play calling, about having a defense the stature in which we have, and not putting them in the optimal position to make plays. If you
We're gonna
stand in
talk
the
about-
same, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Jonathan Gannon tonight. You're not a Jonathan Gannon fan?
No, not at all. If you look at what's happening, it's just like Dom said. It's like the defense was stinking up the joint, and it's like you got to go to the coaching because the players take on the personality of the coach. That's why if you're passive aggressive, you got to put a passive aggressive guys out there, and other teams will take advantage of that. So,
Well, interestingly enough, obviously Aaron Jones last night and A.J. Dillon ran well against the Eagles with Jordan Davis out. Maybe back this week against Tennessee. Got Joseph, got Sue. Obviously a talented defense. Hollis, if you were Jonathan Gannon, what would you be doing differently?
well, in this newfangled NFL that we have, if you have too high safeties, you don't have enough people to stop the run. That's run integrity, run gap integrity. It's like you don't have enough people down there. So you slant the guys instead of having the guys exactly where the offense knows that they're going to be. You do what Jim Johnson used to call you cut up the run because you don't have enough guys for the gaps. So when they do all that pulling and stuff, you got guys that are on the mission already. They don't care what you're doing. They're not reading, reacting. They're putting you on notice and they're in your backfield creating havoc. If you don't do this, you'll see what we've been seeing this since last year. If you line up a guy in front of a guy all day long, eventually the opposing team is they know where you at. So they're going to start moving you and getting you out of there. And if anything, as a player, it gets boring. It gets boring just trying to take on a double team all the time because they know where you're going to be at. And there is no creativity whatsoever in putting out front in a place of success. So we had some success here.
I can live with
here and
boring.
there.
Go ahead. I can't live with 33 points every game,
Yeah.
Damo. Boring. I can live with C.J. Gardner-Johnson broke a rib last night from that center field spot. but anything about Jonathan Gannon's defense? And obviously they're going to be facing Derrick Henry and a lot more backs that are as good or better than the Packers backs down the road. You have a problem with that? Because if Jalen Hurts doesn't go bananas last night, the run offense doesn't go bananas, they could have been in trouble in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they can't get Jordan Davis back fast enough. I mean, he obviously was immovable in the middle and plugged things up a little bit. But, I mean, Hollis is right. I mean, there's some gaps there that, the teams are taking advantage of. I mean, some big runs yesterday, some big pass plays. They've been very good with that 5-man line at rushing the passer, but I think it leaves them exposed on the second level when they've only got 1 or 2 linebackers. And TJ Edwards has played well when the linemen have been able to keep him clean. Yep. But yesterday was another game when they weren't able to, and that's when he gets taken advantage of.
So now, what's Paul, the adjustment, Hollis?
Paul, I know you like boring, but if you're gonna cover with 2 high safeties, you got to do something up front to stop them from gashing you. Because if you notice, I get pissed off every time I watch this defense, and on first down, somebody's jumping up and clapping after somebody's got 3 or 4 yards. You lost first down. You know what? I had 20 sacks in my career, which is not a lot. But I only played most of the time on first and second down. You know where I got my sacks from? Kicking ass on first down. So this is second and long. And then on second and long, either I would get a sack or I would knock a pass down, or people tried to run the screen on me, and I knew what the screen was. But you get off there and you create a passing down. We're not even doing that. Nobody's going to pass on us if we can't stop the run. If you can keep that safety up there, you keep that safety back there all you want to. They will run the ball down our throat. And the team that our only loss, they're the only ones to get this. They kept running. They had the patience. They kept our offense on the sideline. Our offense is good as long as it's on the field and it's getting the reps and it's getting going. But if you have them on the sideline and keep them cold, you will be in a fight that we don't need to be in and we shouldn't be in, because we have the talent defensively to shut this stuff down.
Well, I think you make a good point, Hollis, and Domo, you can chime in on this as well. Obviously, Jordan Davis is who he is, but we talked last week about Washington, who beat the Eagles, obviously, averaging only 3.1 yards a carry, but that the Eagles had very few negative plays, that they seemed to get that 3.1 yards every time they ran the ball. 2nd and 7, 3rd and short. And Hollis, I think, makes a great point to that effect. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they need to do a better job on 1st and 2nd down. They got to keep them out of the 3rd and manageables that Washington had 2 weeks ago. I mean, everything was 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 for them. I mean, that makes a team like Washington that's, average look a lot more than average.
Yeah.
So, that's where, I mean, they just need to play better on 1st and 2nd down.
All right, let me go to a bigger point. Oh, go ahead, Hollis. Go ahead.
And I was going to add something to what Dom said. It's like when you go back to the Houston game, we let a rookie get 139 yards rushing on us. Yeah. We ran this defense, and it pisses me off to no end. We ran this one defense where you're rushing 3 from one side, 3 rushes from one side, but you drop the end to the other side without any contain. It's like, and the guy both times, the one time Mills, he scrambled and threw a touchdown pass. The other time, Taylor Heineke scrambled for 4 or 5 yards, which probably should have been a sack. But we got 2 guys that had 30+ sacks last year, and we keep dropping them in the coverage. In Hassan Reddick and Robert Quinn, we keep dropping them in the coverage. What the hell is that? What are you doing?
I think, guys, the first thing that comes to my mind is if somebody's listening or watching this show tonight and they think, wait, guys, this team's 10-1. And we're whining about the defense, which I'm not saying is wrong. But what does that say about the talent level on this team when we start the show with a negative? It says to me that we think, Hollis thinks, this team is supremely talented, and then when anything goes wrong, we got to take a look at it because it shouldn't be going there. Hollis, what do you think about someone listening tonight saying this team's 10-1? Why are we negative? Because you think probably that we should be 11-0, right?
Well, I think we should be 11-0, but I think it's due to the coaching and our inability to move on from a coach that showed us who he is. You could have made the concessions for Jonathan Gannon last year about not having good enough personnel, but we went out and we rectified that. Not only did we rectify that, during the season we lost somebody, and we went out and got 2 more guys to help rectify that. It's like The football is not going to change. That RPO thing that they're doing, you know, the RPO is they come to the line. It's a run or pass option. You know when they pass when you have 8 in the box. When we have 5 and 6 in the box, they are at an advantage. They're going to run doggy. And when we come to this is going to be a playoff style atmosphere where you get to the better teams who can stop your teams here and there. All they're going to do is play keep away if you can't stop the run. And I tackle it and the other part, this is the part that really sent me off the deep end. When we played the Washington Commanders, and they were out there in goal line personnel, and we still had regular out there. They had 3 or 4 tight ends out there, and we still out there with DBs and stuff. What the hell was that? I know you saw it, Dom. I was like, you have to match up personnel. That's coaching. I don't care what. That's coaching. You got a tight end on the cornerback. They're clearly running. I mean, we didn't match up with personnel at all, and it's gut wrenching to watch sometimes.
Yeah, I think Gannon's philosophy, even with better personnel, he goes back to that bend but don't break. That if we don't give up the big play, we're going to be fine. And what happened in a game like we saw against Washington, they didn't give up the big play, but they just could never take the ball away from them. So they would drive down the field.
Turnovers, yeah.
Right.
But John,
yes,
but we did give up the big play late though because we were tired. We were on the field for 80 plays.
Yeah.
And yesterday was a situation where they did give up the explosive play. They gave up like about, I want to say 10 plus yard runs. They gave up 4 or 5 20 plus touchdown pass plays, including that long touchdown to Watson.
You are correct, sir. I just got to looking it up.
All right, guys, as long as we're talking about this, as long as we're slanting toward the negative, which I have no problem with from the beginning, we got a lot to talk about Jalen, the offense. But, I mean, another thing weird, it's ugly head with big plays, 3 of them, and in other areas, a missed extra point. That happens, but it all seemed to happen last night. The special teams, sooner or later, this is going to bite the Eagles. Sooner or later, it's going to cost them a game. You just can't give a team the 50-yard line, it seems, every kickoff return. Damo, is there a solution? I mean, obviously, they don't have a lot of special teams, Chris Maragos type killers, but can Michael Clay do anything? And is Michael Clay looking at an insecure future after this season, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I mean, we're not nitpicking here, Jolly. I mean, this is a Super Bowl contending team. The problem is you give up 33 points to a 4-8 team. It's a disturbing trend. And when your special teams give up the long kick returns that they did yesterday, that's another indication that you get to the playoffs and that happens, you're out of your season's over. Now, I mean, they've got talent. I mean, they've got enough athletes on their special teams. I put the blame mostly on Michael Clay. I think what we're going to see this year, listening to Nick today, they're starting to look at their practice squad and see if there's some guys there that can help them, at least on a couple of the special teams units. But I mean, there's Britton Covey's not great, but when you got 11 guys descending on you and nobody blocking them, that's the coach. That's
they got no chance. I mean,
that's a recipe for this.
Hollis, when you're on a team that is as solid as the Eagles are, obviously they got problems with the run D, but pretty solid football team. Jalen Hurts going berserk with a bunch of weapons on offense. Yeah, you got some injuries, but then you have a Swiss cheese hole in the special teams. How crazy. We saw Denver self-imploding with the Russell Wilson defensive lineman yesterday. How much did it drive you nuts to see the special teams as bad as they are and wonder if they're going to cost you a game?
It's mind-numbing but the one thing that I think that that they could do is some of the people that's on the starting units need to attend some of these special teams meetings, because sometimes we would go in there to see what the hell is going on, make sure the scheme is up to par. I was like, and then you have to add some incentives, because you got to realize they're making that minimum and stuff. It's like you have some incentives for hits inside the 20. You go in there and you have to let them know how important that one down is, because sometimes you have a lot of young guys on those squads. When I say young guys, I'm like first and second year players. We don't have the third and fourth year players and third and fourth and fifth year players who know That's what they're there for. They're there to make a difference in the game. I don't think the guys that we have on special teams currently, I don't think they have that in them. And I think it goes to the coaching. You are who your coach is. We passive aggressive on. I keep going back to defense. Jonathan Gannon's been sticking in my craw for a while, but it goes to where the coach is. So it's got to go with the coaching. It's like when you have to get the most out of your players, and you do that with scheme. You don't make them think. You go down there, you clobber some people. But I've been seeing it all year, and this has been like that one point that if you want to be a championship team, you cannot give up field position because of special teams or a touchdown or a block that turns into points off the special teams.
All right, guys, you hear what people think. Domo and Hollis both think the Eagles are basically a championship level team that has some holes. They certainly need to be plugged against Tennessee this weekend. And down the road, Eagles in the number one spot in the NFC for the playoffs, the entire East in playoff position. We'll talk about Jalen Hurts, the offense, a lot of what went right last night. When we come back, this is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. We're normally at the Hard Rock at 12th and Market. We're at happy hours every Monday to Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. with $1 off Bud Light, Sam Adams, and Blue Moon Drafts, $6 House Chardonnay and Merlot, and $5 Smirnoff and Cruzan Rum singles, $7 for doubles. Join us at the Hard Rock for live entertainment in the cafe every Wednesday. Enjoy some great food and happy hour specials every Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m. from the Hard Rock Cafe at 12th and Market, where we'll be back in a couple of weeks. The Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff returns with Hollis and Domo joining myself right after this.
Hard Rock Cafe has it all. Great food takes center stage as they tune up your visit with free live music every Friday night at 6. Sponsored by Conshohocken Brewing Company. See Philly's best rocking the main stage while you enjoy Hard Rock favorites right here in Center City. Pickup, delivery, and catering available. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
Once again, we are not at the Hard Rock this Monday. We are on Zoom as the Hard Rock undergoes renovations to their kitchen to make an already great restaurant even better. This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Don't forget, you can watch the show live at WBCBsports.com and Facebook Live by searching WBCB Sports, and at the Hard Rock Friday Night Live. Live music every Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. No cover. Best local artists on the main stage every week. Make your reservations. www.hardrock.com. Paul Domowitch, co-host. Hollis Thomas, our guest. Before we get into Jalen Hurts, Hollis, Philly Sports Trips, you remember that? You're dealing with that for road games and tailgating, as well as Philly Sports T-shirts. You sent me a look at one of your T-shirts before the show. Pretty cool.
Skippy.
Take some time and tell us what's going on with both those things.
Well, Philly Sports Trips, I got with Philly Sports Trips to do tailgating and away game road trips. That's kind of my hobby now. I go to the away road games and stuff, and I always have It's a great time because you get to hang with the Birds fans and stuff, and you get to view the game. My next trip is Chicago. Actually, we're doing Chicago and MetLife. We took 1,200 people down to DC for the first Commanders game.
How many people?
1,200.
Wow.
On buses. We went down there. We went down there to say what's up to Carson Wentz. And the Philly sports T-shirts. They just came up with the design for my damn Skippy. It's a picture of me, and that's why I sent you. It's like that's what I always when somebody asks me something, and I'm in agreement with it. I tell them damn Skippy. But that's what I've been doing for the most part. Besides that, and hanging with the Birds and doing all other types of ill stuff.
Well, Hollis, listen. Anybody watching tonight, I know they're thinking where the glasses come from. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to explain your wonderful eyewear tonight.
Well, I always have some type of funky glasses on. This actually was the start of it all. I've been had these for about like 5 or 6 years, but I just broke them back out. But I usually have on eagle green, or if I'm wearing flyer stuff, I have on the orange or have on the Philly red. But it also always has like the American flag on the front of it. But I got them from where I get my clothes from, Destination XL. They always have it during the American holidays to show patriotism. So I picked up a couple in the accessory section.
No problem with that. Damo, who shops at Destination Medium, I'm guessing, as opposed to Hollis Destination XL. Another guy at Destination Medium, maybe a little bit larger than that, our powerlifting quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who had a $157 on the ground, threw pretty well last night. A.J. Brown had a rough night. We'll get to that. But Jalen had over 100 yards in the first quarter. Eagles rushed for 363. Every week, this potential MVP seems to do different things to carry this team on his back. What are the words to describe Jason, or Jalen rather, that you want to use today?
Leader.
Guys. Yeah. He's carrying this team on his back, doing everything he needs to do. I mean, right now he and Patrick Mahomes are the two. They're the two MVP candidates. Nobody else is close.
And
when he, I think a leader. I think of doing what it takes to win. It's like whether it be passing, whether it be running. He's not afraid to. He's not too good for the moment. It's like sometimes when you see certain quarterbacks, they feel like they're above doing certain things, and they'll try to force the issue. But I like him. I love Jalen because he takes what the team gives him. If you're gonna run man under. Go ahead. What was you
Let
gonna
me
say?
interrupt you for 1 second. Obviously, you played against a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of running quarterbacks. It's got to be hard to defend against Jalen. We can talk about that from the X and O perspective, how much risk he takes, should he be running that much. But the thing to me that Damo and I talked about this last week that blows our minds is the calmness and then the matter-of-factness with which he approaches everything. Did you ever play with a young kid like that who was growing as a player but seemed to have that old soul mentality, and did the team go with that? You mentioned leadership. He's a hell of a leader, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a tremendous leader. I like the way he's doing. And Don, early on, Don was like that, but I think being Donovan's teammate, I think sometimes he let the people get to him about being a pocket passer. I think early on, Don was killing, and I thought if he'd continued that trend, just ran when he needed to, instead of sometimes standing back. Because sometimes we as fans, we indict the offensive line for giving up a sack. But sometimes you pay attention. If you know anything about football, if you don't learn anything, the defensive line is we got 2 seconds to get to the quarterback, because most quarterbacks releases 1/1000, it's gone. So, but if the quarterback is standing back there patting the ball for 4 or 5 reps, 4 or 5 pats, that's a good offensive line, because most times you don't get that. But I think this kid is he's taking the bull by the horns, and he's just doing what it takes to win. And I think win is the most important thing. He doesn't care if it's ugly, if he has to run, and he's not taking no blasting hits either. And he's actually the thing that maybe really I love about him is last night I'm watching what the Green Bay is doing to him. They're running man under, which basically means you really don't have anywhere to throw the ball, but they're turning their back to the quarterback. Now you could do that with a big lumbering quarterback who you can run down. But when you do that to somebody of this stature, he just puts you on notice. He puts you on notice. He's like, this is what you'll have to contend with if you don't put a spy on me, and it takes somebody away from the coverage. And then when you do that, then I can run the ball. We see, because we haven't talked about Miles. we have a great offensive line, and I think the offensive line, in believing in our leader, you know, everything is going copacetic. And somebody said something to me about how they're keeping it together, and I think it's the leader. It's like, because sometimes you after a game like this, oh, I didn't get to touch the ball. Well, what about my turn? What about this? You don't hear that anymore. You don't hear that type of stuff going on.
Hollis brings this up, and obviously the offensive line wasn't great in the first quarter, pretty good in the fourth quarter when all the getting was done. And you talk about Miles and everything, but Hollis talks about a spy. It didn't really matter because Jalen beat the spy last night. When you have a guy that can beat a spy, that makes it very tough on the defense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they used one and he ran by him. It's amazing.
Yeah, he gave him tickets to the matinee show.
They told an interesting story, Tirico and Collinsworth, during the game yesterday about Jalen and his leadership. You know, they said in the production meeting, you know, when he was talking to the media last week, they asked him. He said he sets the temperature for the offense, and I guess the more Jalen thought about that, the more he was worried that it kind of came off as an arrogant type of comment that would offend his teammates and kind of give the impression that he was not what a different kind of guy. So I mean, he was concerned enough about it to talk about it with them. I mean, which kind of tells you where his head is at. I mean, not many guys worry about stuff like that, but he takes his role as team leader seriously.
Yeah. And does stuff with it. I mean, last week against Indianapolis, the offense a little bit flat. Jalen took him by the horns last night. The offense good, the defense a little bit flat, but Jalen took him by the horns again. It's an amazing thing that this young quarterback is doing. Meanwhile, the injuries, no Dallas Goedert, seem to slow down the passing game, especially the screen game. Injuries are injuries. They are what they are, Hollis. Never going to change. Yep. Missing Jordan Davis, missing Avonte Maddox, missing Dallas Goedert. What can the offense do without Dallas Goedert there? Jack Stoll didn't play a bad game last night, but it wasn't the same passing offense, that's for sure. A.J. Brown obviously had a rough night. Devontae Smith was okay, but if you're Shane Steichen right now, how do you hide Dallas Goedert's absence if it's possible?
The same thing he did last night. You got to hit Jalen Watkins a little bit more. You saw him where his head and my bad, Quez Watkins, not Jalen. Quez. There's a lot of Jalen's on team. Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins. You saw him. Jalen was a DB, wasn't he? But you saw Quez Watkins come up and pass go. A lot of people are going to have to step up. I love the way Jack can block good, but he kind of worries me on the passing game a little bit. So we'll keep him blocking until Dallas can get back. But you have to implement some stuff in there, and also you get some of the running backs involved as well in the passing game. So I'm pretty sure that he's gonna. It's a lot. We have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, to the point, Damo, where if you ask somebody to name 8 Eagles that are weapons, very few people outside of Philadelphia would mention Miles Sanders. All he did was run for $142 last night. He's in the top 10 in the NFL in running the football. He finds the holes. He's not spectacular, but he's just keeps on going. He's the Energizer Bunny. Talk about Miles Sanders, if you like, for a second, and what he does for this offense.
Yeah, he's having a terrific season. When Goddard got hurt, my feeling was that they, if you want to compensate for losing Dallas, they needed to start using Sanders and Gainwell more in the passing game. We didn't see that until last night, and last night was just, I think Miles had 3 catches, mostly on dump offs. I think they can use them. They can use them more than that, but they went to a lot of a handful of 4 wide receiver sets last night. But mainly, you want to offset the absence of Goddard. You run the ball 49 times and just pound it down their butt, which is what they did.
Yeah.
All right, the Eagles guys. Go ahead, Hollis.
I know. I was just going to add, it's like this. You have to, in order to compensate, because you got to get the 2 tight ends acclimated, and the best way to get guys acclimated is to have them out there run blocking a little bit, and then throw them the ball. Yep. They have to work for it, and then you get the glory.
All right, 10-1, Tennessee coming in next week. Folks, the Eagles have the single biggest advantage an NFL team can have. They're going to have it for the rest of this year. Then they're not going to have it anymore. What are we talking about? We'll tell you when the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff returns on Zoom with Hollis Thomas and Paul Domowitch. Following this, stay with us.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City at 12th and Market Streets has it all. Great food takes center stage with dine-in and pickup available. Their burgers are so famous, they have their own chauffeurs. So order delivery and catering too. So if you're celebrating or just getting the band together, Hard Rock Cafe's got your back. For more info, hit up hardrockcafe.com.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave this football season. Hang out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 Miller Lights, Jameson specials, and awesome game day prizes during all Sunday and Monday football games. Stop in before, during, or after the game to see your favorite entertainers and your chance to win an awesome game day prize. The most epic game day experience is at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, where champions play. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
All righty, back on Zoom tonight. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hollis Thomas, our guest, Paul Domowitch, our co-host. Guys, to either one of you, obviously, the Eagles have some luxuries this year for Harry Roseman to plug in Linval Joseph when Jordan Davis gets hurt, to plug in Ndamukong Suh, to get a Robert Quinn. Why can the Eagles do that? Because the Eagles have money to play with because their quarterback is on a rookie contract making rookie money. That's going to change next year. Jalen Hurts, not a first-round draft choice, so he signed a 4-year rookie contract, not 5, and he's up for free agency this year. I think it's past the point where we're wondering if they're going to sign him, Damo. They are going to sign him. It could be one of those $50 million a year jobs like Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's taking a hometown discount, and that takes your luxuries right away from you. Obviously, we're looking ahead, but do you agree with me that a new contract is a fait accompli for Jalen? And what's that going to do to this Eagles team going forward?
No, I don't think it's a fait accompli. I mean, I think they want to sign him, but he's in a pretty good bargaining position. Lamar
Jackson, completely, they're going to try, not that they're going to definitely sign him.
Yeah, but it's going to cost a lot of money, a lot of guaranteed money. There's technically no hurry. There's a lot of ways for them to hang on to him for a few more years, and as we see with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, you just deal with reality. But they want us. I mean, I don't think there's any question anymore that he's their quarterback of the future. I mean, they've in their minds, this is their guy.
Is there any urgency about that, Hollis? Because this year is kind of that luxury year. You think you're going to be good in the future. You know you're going to be good, but this year may really be the year to get the doing done.
Well, the one thing I think you get it done because it shows faith in between you and them. I think Jalen understands that if you go and you get that blockbuster deal where you make all the money, you're not going to have any luxury. So,
but how many guys have done that? I mean, we see Rodgers and Russell Wilson and you name it. Very few guys take hometown discounts. Brady's the only guy. I'm not saying take a hometown discount. I'm saying you can get fair market value, but you don't have to. You have to scratch and scrounge for every single million. It's like you could leave. It's like if you want a good team and you want to win, we'll know if he wants to win. Put it that way. Because if the quarterback takes all the money, there's nothing to do anything else. There's nothing to do anything else with.
Joe Flacco, as soon as they won the Super Bowl, they gave him all that money, dismantled.
It's like a good point Hollis makes.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Domo, there's one guy that didn't really do it, and that constantly rejiggered his contract and made it so it was team friendly. His name's Tom Brady, and that strategy seemed to work pretty well for New England and later Tampa. Do you think Jalen Hurts and his agent are going to be on that course with the Eagles?
I think Jalen is aware that I mean, he wants to win. He knows that his contract's going to have a ripple effect on they're going to have to, I mean, they're clearly not going to have the flexibility they have now. There's going to be guys that are going to be gone once he signs a new contract, but he's a guy that I think will work with the team so that he's not that he's going to take a lot less, but he's going to find ways so that this team can still afford to put a pretty good cast of players around him.
Yeah, so to have the opportunity to win, you have to make some concessions. If you go and take all the money and nobody else is getting paid like you're getting paid, it's hard to ask them to run through that same wall that you're running through. So and it's gonna and that's something, and you're not going to get everybody else is not going to make concessions or take that give you a hometown discount. So you have the quarterback who's coming in. He's going to make the most, and so you have to see where his head is at.
It's going to be the most interesting part of the offseason, that's for sure.
Yes.
Sunday, obviously, the Tennessee Titans come in. We could talk about Rodgers and the like, but it is what it is. Jordan Love is what he is. Eagles move on to Tennessee, a very good team. A.J. Brown returning to play his old team. He had a rough game last night, had a rough couple games, couple drops, couple fumbles. He could be in that quote-unquote slump. Damo, anything to worry about at all, especially with Tennessee?
Well, from what I understand, I mean, he was dealing with an eye problem that caused him to lose about 7 pounds, and I mean, I think that contributed to. I mean, this is a guy that fumbled once in his first 3 years in the league, lost one fumble. He's lost 2 in the last 2 weeks. You could see he was taking it hard. He had a touchdown catch. I mean, it was not like he stunk up.
But now you saw after he fumbled the time, and it caused the next time he caught they came right back to him, and how he held onto the ball. Then I think he's aware of it, and I think he'll get back to basics, because it's like sometimes it's like Jolly was saying, it's kind of a slump, or sometimes you go through some like little nitpicky stuff. Because remember in the game we lost, he came up with kind of lame with the hamstring and stuff, and then everybody's having issues with the flu and stuff and all this. So I'm thinking he wants to be full force, because I know he was circling this game. I don't care who you are. He's circling this game.
A lot of guys deny it. A lot of guys say it's nothing special. I respect the ones, Damo and Hollis, that say, yeah, this is a big game. I did used to play for them. I think they did me wrong. Whether they feel that or have to froth themselves up to that. Hollis, you play with multiple NFL teams. Did you ever play with a team and then come back to play the old team? And what did you feel?
Damn, Skippy. I can't. You don't remember I played the Eagles twice when they traded me.
I do. I want you to talk about it. Sure.
I circled the game as soon as they traded me. I was like, "Do we play these suckers?" So, and that's why I made sure from the very first play of being in the backfield and greeting number 5 always loving you, to running down to Westbrook saying, "Oh, you went over there and got nasty." I was like, "No, you just never had to play against me where I could take you down." So between that and destroying Carell Buckhalter on the run play as soon as he got the ball, and doing the same thing, and I got to play him twice. The second time was in the playoffs.
Sounds like you're still angry about it.
Well, no, it's because I felt like they tried to play me close. You drafted Broderick Buckley, really, and let me go.
Broderick Buckley, Trent Cole, and Hugh Douglas went in the Hall of Fame yesterday. They don't have either of those guys tomorrow or Sunday, Damo, to stop Derrick Henry, who's going to be tough for probably the most physical team in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel comes in here. What's your game plan? If you're Jonathan Gannon, Hollis had some problems with a lack of aggression last night. This is a team where you got to run blitz them and stop some gaps. You got to be gap control. What do you do against Derrick Henry?
You just like you do just what the Cincinnati Bengals just did to him. Held him to 39 yards. You do the run blitzing. I don't know if he has the wherewithal to do the run blitzing that you do, because when you do run blitzing, it gives a defensive lineman an assignment. You don't have to see if I don't have an assignment, if I just have the B gap, if I just got the B gap, okay, I got the B gap. and then somebody they smash me. Okay, I take care of the B gap. But if you don't have like say I'm slanting inside and I'm back there creating havoc, or you give me something to do, give me an assignment as a defender. Give me an assignment so I can go create some debauchery. If we don't do that, then we try to line up with these guys stripe to stripe. Then eventually it's going to wear on us. And it's going to be just like the Washington game. That'll wear on us later in the game, and they have a big guy who you do not want to see roaming around your secondary.
Well, Damo, there's a saying in sports: styles make fights, and this matchup is not a great matchup on paper for the Eagles. Tennessee, very physical, big back. They tend to pound you. They're not a team that throws the ball all around. Tannehill's not bad, but Eagles obviously can win this game. But to me, this is the best team they play the rest of the schedule, and that includes Dallas. To be the number 1 seed in the East, you like to match up with a team in the other conference. Do you think the physicality of this matchup goes for or against the Eagles? And if it's against, what do they do to counteract that?
Well, I mean, that's a concern against this team. I mean, their defense can hurt people.
Yes.
You don't want to come out of this game with 3 guys out for the next 5-6 weeks. But I mean, it all starts for them with defensively with stopping Derrick Henry. He's been, he's not played all that well the last 3 weeks. I think he's averaging like 2.3, 2.4 yards a carry the last 3 games.
Yeah, but Dom, they've been using him on the screen game as well, and he's been making examples out of people. So
he fumbled over the end zone yesterday. Remember that 60-yarder? Yeah.
Yeah, but that was 60 yards downfield.
Yeah,
you cannot let this guy get ahead of steam.
Exactly.
You got to get penetration and make him go east-west. If they can do that, they can slow him down and then get to. I mean, Tannehill's not a quarterback that can carry this team on his shoulders, especially without.
He's got a bad ankle too. I was going to say he's got a bad ankle.
Toughest, in your career in the NFL, obviously you played against a lot of running backs. Who's the toughest guy to bring down for you?
Physically?
Yep.
You remember Rodney Hampton?
Yep. Giants. 27 out of Georgia.
Yeah, that was a man amongst boys. But other than that, it's like you got play Ernest Biner. You remember Brian Mitchell was hell on wheels as well. So yeah. And then the bus. Once the wheels on the bus got rolling, it was hard to drag his happy ass down.
Does Henry remind you of the bus with speed, Damo? Because that's who he reminds me a little bit of.
Does Henry?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, Henry.
Hey, Dom, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
You think he's that? I think he's bigger than Eric Dickerson, or much bigger, isn't he?
But you just look at that. Look, if you put a picture of them next to each other, and the way Eric Dickerson used to run and stuff, and the whole style, because Eric Dickerson was just smooth with his. So
yeah.
All right, guys. So we have anything to worry about? The Eagles have anything to worry about? The NFC East is obviously very good. Got the 1 seed right now in Minnesota, having gotten whacked and then coming back on Thanksgiving. Some pretty interesting Thanksgiving Day football. Eagles can afford to lose one, but of course you don't want to. Dom, was it time to start looking at the playoffs and strategizing for the playoffs? Or you have to take a week at a time, which seems to be the Eagles' way of thinking and mantra. Mine as well. Hollis, Damo, what's yours? First you, Damo.
Well, I mean, if you Nick is taking that attitude, but if you look at Minnesota's schedule, I mean, that's the team that they can beat them out for the home field advantage, and Minnesota's schedule is a piece of cake the rest of the way.
Remember, only one bye in each conference this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's only one bye. Yeah.
Eagles have some challenges. I don't see them sweeping both giant games.
Right.
Tennessee's going to be a battle on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, so I could see them losing 2 more games, and that could be enough to cost them the home field advantage. So they they have to take a week in, week out, every kind of attitude towards these games.
Yeah.
Hollis?
That's what I'm saying. I think we got to take it game by game. We have to worry about the task at hand. I don't think you can look ahead. I think because right now we control our own destiny. When you start looking past your destiny, then that's when a team just like jumps up out of nowhere and just kicks you right in the front. Like a team, like we could be counting win, and all of a sudden one of those wins that we were talking about down the line, jumps up and kicks your front teeth out, and you at the dentist wondering how did you get here. But you have to like this task. This is going to be one of those tasks. It's going to tell me a lot about this team. This is going to be a playoff style game against when you get to the playoffs. You guys know this. You're going to run the ball, and you need to stop the run. You keep especially when everybody's high powered when you get to the playoffs. But how you keep that high powered offense off the field? You run the ball and play keep away. You get those long drives, and at the end of those drives, you finish with a touchdown. When you do that, you put the other team on notice. One, they're over there cold, and they haven't got anything going because you just got a 7 or 8 play drive going, and now they're trying to get warm. All you have to do is knock down one pass on 3rd and long, or they're going to miss a pass on 3rd and long, and your defense is right back out there. And if we run with that bend but don't break stuff, then our defense is going to be out there for another 8 to 10 plays. Offense is colder. Next thing you know,
Sunday's going to be one of those time of possession games, slobber knocker, try to possess the ball. By the way, congratulations. I don't know if you saw on the Today Show this morning. NBC on the Today Show did a great piece on Merrill, Mike, and the WIP booth with Billy Werndell, Joe McPeak. Merrill came off looking like a charm as always. Great piece on the Today Show on our own Merrill Reese. We come back with Hollis Thomas and Paul Domowitch. Going to take a look around the NFL, what happened yesterday. Some fights on the sidelines, some pretty good games. 2 2-point conversions, 1 football game in the last 30 years, and 2 more yesterday. We're in a change in times. The times they are changing, and we are going for a commercial and coming right back after this.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City has it all. Great food, free live entertainment on Friday nights, and they're the epicenter for special occasions. Let them rock and roll to you with catering for your next gathering or book a private event space for your band's next meeting. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or late night, let them turn it up at Hard Rock Cafe at 12th and Market Street. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
Back here on Zoom with Paul Domowitch and Hollis Thomas. Final segment of the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Domo, the Eagles 10-1. Of course, they're going to be picking probably 32nd or so in the NFL draft. Oh, wait a minute. Unless their general manager, Howie Roseman, made the draft night deal with a team that sucks like New Orleans last year, doesn't have Sean Payton, has Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. Think Bob from Phoenixville. Domo, right now the Eagles have the 7th pick in the draft. The rich get richer. What's that like? And what's it like around the NovaCare Center thinking you got a pick like that?
So I mean, they're blessed. It was a hell of a move. And it's going to come in handy next year. I mean, they don't need it. The thinking was last year that if they ended up deciding Jalen wasn't the answer, they could always go get one of the many quarterbacks that are going to be available. They've got their quarterback, which means they can spend that pick on a defensive lineman, an offensive lineman, some other position.
Yep. And then we talked about the times there are changing. That could be the way it is with the Eagles. They could win a Super Bowl and come back and be dynastic for a while. That might be thinking ahead. You never think ahead, but the times they are changing. With Hollis, in what way, buddy?
Well, I was watching the Seahawks and Raiders game, and the Seahawks got an interception. A linebacker from the Seahawks off the bench came in and threw a block. None the wiser was our officiating. Our officials officially suck now because this call did not get made. And if you know me, I've been on the officials' ass for quite some time because of the calls they're not making and some of the ones they are making. But to have a guy literally come off the sideline to throw a block for his team and nobody says anything. Nobody says anything.
He said when he left the bench, he got involved in the celebration, didn't realize the play was live, threw a block. Hollis is right. It is amazing. The refs completely missed it. I mean, your thoughts on officiating this year?
They've been too involved in determining games. It's almost like they want. It's almost like they want to decide the outcome.
Yeah.
The league has given them some points of emphasis, including this damn ineligible man downfield.
Oh God,
it's driving me crazy.
Now, Dom. Sometimes it is blatant, but it was one that we got called on, and I was watching another game, and I was like, but it was another one that where a guy was like, if people don't know, as an offensive lineman, you get 2 to 3 yards downfield because that's what play action fakes are for. I was like, but if you get beyond that, then you're an illegal man downfield. I'm seeing guys that are not even down the line, downfield that they're calling, and the ref and the passer, man, and the not calling the face mask penalties. We all know about that. And here's the ultimate one from this weekend. It's in all sports. The ultimate one for me this weekend was watching the Mississippi State and Ole Miss college game, and they blew a whistle because it was a backwards pass, but they blew the whistle, and then number 44 just happened to pick up the ball, change of possession. Not counting that they blew the whistle, and it was a change of possession because it was a backwards pass. Well, but you blew the whistle.
Yeah, I mean, we could replay every play, Damo and Hollis, but you had 9-hour games then. NFL's got to think about what to replay, what not to, what point of emphasis to attack, what not to.
Well, Jolly, quickly, you really only have to deal with the plays that have something to do with the play. And the worst thing that I've heard said was when Troy Vincent said that he trusts the judgment of our officials. Not on duty. Not on duty.
Who's Troy paid by the way?
Troy's paid by the NFL. But I'm not trusting. I'm not trusting the officials though. Continue.
The NFL beyond Week 12. Some teams haven't had their bye yet. We had the 3 Thanksgiving games. The linebacker off the bench yesterday. A couple 2-point conversions, winning games. Damo, what one thing around the NFL piqued your interest yesterday more than others?
Well, I mean, you mentioned there's a lot of teams that are the mentality about going for it on 4th down. Taking chances in your own territory, that's totally different than 15, 20 years ago when, basically you punted and lived to fight another day. Right. Now it's a totally different game. And I like it. I like the ballsy calls that we're seeing, even if they backfire sometimes.
I like them to a certain extent. I was going to say, I like those calls to a certain extent. And somehow or another, I think the football guys will have something to say. And you will end up on the short end of that most of the time.
Well, Doug Peterson looked good after yesterday with Trevor Lawrence looking like a number 1 draft pick. The number 2 pick in that draft, Zach Wilson, not so good as Mike White comes in with the Jets. Hollis, it seems like quarterbacks have a shorter leash these days than they used to. What are your thoughts about the Mike White? If you're coaching the Jets and not Robert Saleh, is Zach Wilson or Mike White your quarterback of the future? Obviously, it's not based on one game, but if you're Zach Wilson, are you worried up there?
Well, with Zach Wilson, you should be worried. I don't think you go away from. I don't think you totally throw Zach Wilson in the trash. But currently, if you're trying to pump and promote that you're a winning organization, putting Zach Wilson back on in the state that he was, it gives you no credibility in the locker room. I'm trying to get the hell out of there. If you do that, I'm trying to get as a player. I'm trying to get the hell out of there because you're not looking to win, and putting the quarterback on notice that you will be critiqued on your play and you expect to play well, or you'll be sitting down. I think it galvanizes the locker room and it galvanizes your place as the head coach there, and your word has some weight now.
Damo, did Trevor Lawrence have his seminal moment yesterday? You expecting good things from him going forward?
I mean, I never doubted that Trevor was going to get it together, especially with Peterson. I mean, the man survived some bad times with Urban Meyer and came out the other end. I mean, Doug's good with young quarterbacks. Clearly, Trevor and he have developed a relationship, and I think the kid's going to only get better as they put a better and better cast around him.
All right, guys, let's ask the $1 million question in the room then. The Eagles played last night. Packers scored 33 on them. Obviously, Jalen led the Eagles to 40. Aaron Rodgers went out with an injury in the third quarter. Jordan Love looked pretty good. He's been there 3 years. Aaron Rodgers was there 3 years when Brett Favre got hurt. He's got a $50 million a year contract for the next 2. So fill in the blank. The Green Bay starter next year, opening day, if everybody's healthy. A, Aaron Rodgers. B, Jordan Love. C, somebody that I'm not thinking of. Damo, you first.
I think it's going to be Jordan Love. I don't know that, first of all, I think Aaron Rodgers' injury is pretty serious. I don't think he's going to play again this year. I mean, they're out of it. Why not just see what Jordan Love has, give him the rest of the season to show you that. And, my guess is that we come to next season, Jordan Love is going to be the starting quarterback in Green Bay.
Hollis?
The only way I see that happening is if they trade Aaron Rodgers. His contract is fully guaranteed. Remember that. And somebody has to truly want him. Now, if I don't know, only people I can see is the Paul Hackett up in Denver, but they've already got it. They've already got a catastrophe at hand up there. So it's gonna be if they start Jordan Love next year, they're gonna be heading to flying. I can almost guarantee you LaFleur is probably gonna be fired.
Well, LaFleur won 13 games his first 3 years. And now he's in this situation. Will somebody trade for Aaron Rodgers? We will see. That's for the offseason. It could happen, could not happen. Denver's a disaster. Meanwhile, a bigger disaster, in my opinion, although not theoretically, is Cleveland, where a guy named Deshaun Watson, I think I remember the name, starts this week after an 11-week suspension that should have been longer. Damo, any thoughts on Deshaun?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a bad situation. But Cleveland dug this hole, and they got to live with it now. I mean, it's too late this year for even if Deshaun Watson did not play at all last year, so you're talking about a lot of rust. Granted, he's better than anybody he's better than Jacoby Brissett. He's better than anybody they've got. But there's going to be some backlash to this. I don't think we know how it's going to play out, but I don't think it's going to be good.
Quick, I don't think it's. Hollis, go ahead.
I think everybody. I think they're doing the right thing, giving the kid another opportunity to go. He obviously is going to be some backlash. There's going to be some backlash with anything you do. The thing that I think that Cleveland did was they dug themselves a pretty big hole because it's like you got the guy, but then he gets suspended for 11 games. But then you have a guy who does pretty decently, does a good backup job. But now you got to get this guy ready for the next season. So we'll see what this holds for them if they made the right decision. But it's Cleveland Browns. Remember that. They never make the right decision.
That has some truth to it. Obviously, Cleveland's struggling with Penn's Kevin Stefanski at the helm. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens the rest of the way out. Eagles and the Titans Sunday and 10-1 and on track for the 1 seed. We'll be back with another show next week. Looking forward to it. Hollis, thanks so much for being here tonight, buddy. Love the glasses. Love the attitude.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys for having me. Thanks.
Damo.
Thanks for being here, Hollis.
I want to see Hollis glasses on you, Damo, next week. Is that all right?
I'll find out where I can buy a pair.
There we are. Brianne O'Neill produced this fine program. Keith Noonan helped out. We appreciate that. We'll be back with another edition of Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff next week. Thanks for listening this week. For Hollis Thomas and Paul Domowitch, I'm Paul Jolovitz again for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff saying good night, have a great week, and go Eagles.